Hello everyone and welcome to the next session in the Buyer Insights and Intelligence series. My name is Andrew Gaffney. I'm Editorial Director with Demand Gen Report, and glad you could join us for this next session. We're at about midpoint in the series here, midweek, and we've got another great day of sessions planned. We've talked a lot in our previous sessions about buyer behavior and insights around the buyer. This next session is going to be really critical because it's going to get into some of the critical areas where marketing can help support sales with insights. And the title of today's session is What You Don't Know Can Hurt You, and we'll be exploring and highlighting some of the areas where marketing can close the gap to give sales the insights they need. Sessions of the series is hosted by Demand Gen Report, so if you're not already a subscriber to our content, we encourage you to take advantage of some of the great things that we are producing. You'll get access to proprietary research that we produce, as well as access to series like this one, and also encourage you to check out the social media groups we have. We have one on LinkedIn called Demand Gen Specialist, where conversations on topics like today's get some great feedback and input, so please check that out as well. Also, we host a physical event. B2B Marketing Exchange has been growing quite a bit. We do it in February in Scottsdale, so check out we're going to be starting to announce our speakers and keynotes for that, and there's a lot of great topics related to the series that you might want to take advantage of. Also, we do have a community called B2BM Experts that we host on the Influitive platform. I encourage you to check that out. You can take advantage of participating in challenges and activities and win prizes and have some fun connecting with peers. Also, speaking of prizes, as part of the series, you'll have an opportunity to win some cool stuff as you register and attend different sessions. There are Starbucks gift cards as well as free tickets to our B2B Marketing Exchange that we'll have an opportunity to win by registering and attending. And there's one grand prize that will be announced at the end of the series where someone will win a $500 Expedia gift card and hopefully get a cool vacation or trip from that. So keep an eye out for that and stay active. The session is scheduled to run for about 30 minutes for presentation time, and then we're going to spend about 10 or 15 minutes getting to questions. You can submit your questions right in the Q&A tab in the On24 platform. Type them in as they come to mind. We'll tackle those at the end. If we don't get to all the questions, we'll ask our speaker to follow up with you directly. Also, within the On24 platform, you can check out related resources to today's topic. You can also follow the social media stream and conversations there and be a participant. And one of the frequently asked questions we get is the session going to be available after? And yes, we do record, so all registrants will get a chance to go back and review and also share this content with their peers. So without further ado, let me dive into the topic and introduce today's speaker. Christine Chartier is responsible for all aspects of marketing at Full Circle Insights. She leverages a rich track record in marketing with a noteworthy breadth in the discipline with more than 2 decades in the making. Her career spans key executive roles in startups and agency worlds, including roles at Intel, where she rose to corporate brand director, responsible for managing the company's entire worldwide brand identity, and even a stint with the governing body of Polo as CMO, responsible for growth of the sport. She's a long-standing manager of complex marketing programs, and she believes in motivating fiercely creative and passionate teams and augmenting them with strong agency relationships. In February of 2013, Christine was named one of the top 50 women brand marketers by Brand Innovators, and we're really happy to have her with us today. I've had an opportunity of working with Christine over the years. I know she's a great speaker and somebody really knowledgeable on the topic, so welcome, Chris, for coming today.
Thank you, Andrew, and thank you for that very generous introduction. So as Andrew mentioned, I'm Christine Chartier, and I'm head of marketing at Full Circle Insights, and I'm going to be your tour guide today, taking you through the next 30 minutes, walking you through what you don't know can hurt you, and how marketing can close the gap to give sales the insights they need. Before we start, there's one thing that's imperative to giving sales the insights they need, and that is you have to start with a common source of truth. This is the baseline for any positive conversation, and not having a single source of truth is the biggest culprit to not knowing the things that can hurt you. As marketers, we are enamored with the holy grail of attribution, but the truth is it's not enough. It's an incredibly important metric for marketers, but it's only one side of the coin and not the side that your sales team really cares about. We love it too here at Full Circle Insights, and we've even got a great solution, but given sales cycles are long in B2B, attribution doesn't move fast enough to provide you the insights you need. The leading indicators of daily performance are actually funnel metrics, which can provide you with an understanding of the customer journey, and therefore, if you're doing your part to be on track before the deal closes, which is exactly what the sales team needs and wants to know to make sure they are doing all they can to drive home more deals. It's important for us to set a foundation around terminology, especially as it relates to the marketing terms of attribution and funnel metrics, as I just mentioned. I think this is extremely important because I often hear marketers conflate the two terms. But there's a clear difference between them, and it's extremely important to have a bright line separating the two because they show you very different things. Attribution, for instance, is this assigned value to a set of actions that lead to a defined outcome. Or more colloquially, this is the overall impact on revenue. Funnel metrics, on the other hand, are the stage-by-stage standards of measurement of a buyer from beginning to end. We are here measuring the buyer journey. This gives us visibility into campaign viability pre-opportunity before attribution can even take hold, and of course post-opportunity as well, along with business process, like what happens to the leads when they are handed off to sales. Now let's talk about when you use each of these metrics. We use attribution to report out on marketing's contribution to revenue. This is generally executive level meetings, and they happen monthly, quarterly, or special meetings in between. A lot of this is also driven by your sales cycle. If it's a longer sales cycle, you may not be looking at attribution metrics that frequently. The shorter the sales cycle, of course, the more frequently you'll use. On the other hand, funnel metrics give you the real-time state of the buyer journey. Where are they in their purchase decision? Funnel metrics also give you an indication of the associated business process health. What I mean by that is that you're able to see the marketing to sales handoff and track what is happening on the sales side with the potential buyer. So if things get held up, you're able to see and can investigate what's going wrong. Funnel metrics are used all the time. These are your daily key performance indicators in your day-to-day operations, highlighting both campaign health and business process. So now that we got introductions and level setting out of the way, let's take a quick look at the agenda for the rest of the 30 minutes. We'll walk through why we don't have a common baseline with sales. We'll talk about and define those key performance indicators, or KPIs. We'll talk about leveraging those KPIs to align our goals with sales. And then we're going to actually give you the top 5 actionable reports for sales along as putting a big bow on this, tying it up, and some key takeaways for you. Okay, so let's talk about why we don't have a common baseline. We are supposed to be joined at the hip with sales and even show up together on the P&L, but in most cases, and in many cases, almost half of a high-tech company's revenue is spent on marketing and sales. But in reality, we couldn't be more divided. Some of it is the mere fact that we tend to live in separate silos by our very nature, and as much as we've tried to come together, the divide is further exacerbated by technology itself. Marketing's data is siloed in a marketing automation system, and sales data is in a siloed CRM system like Salesforce. Consequently, the sales team may have no idea what marketing is doing beyond the leads that get tossed over to them, and they may or may not want to follow up on. So while we have this divide, many organizations try to bridge the gap by uniting around a single funnel. But what proves to be a painful experience and exercise ends up with a funnel that often looks and operates much more like this. The impact is significant: impaired visibility, investment uncertainty, continued misalignment. The solution to the divide is to pull this performance information from a marketing analytics solution that is based 100% inside Salesforce. The reason this is important is that native applications will produce numbers that match your sales team's numbers. Furthermore, each lead can be traced along its entire life cycle, making everything auditable. Salesforce is the de facto standard revenue reporting system that sales and your CFO and CEO all rely on. So if there are discrepancies between your numbers and what's inside Salesforce, guess who's going to win? It's tempting to go with pretty graphs from a marketing automation solution or even a marketing analytics solution that is partially based in Salesforce. But for your own sanity and frankly for your own credibility within the organization, choose a solution that's totally inside Salesforce, meaning 100% native. As head of marketing, this has been a game changer for me. I'm now able to meet with the sales team with incredibly insightful data and with numbers that match theirs. This makes me super credible in the organization. We're no longer arguing about the numbers, but in fact we're having meaningful discussions about what we're uncovering and how we can work together to improve and meet and or exceed our goals. At Full Circle Insights, our goal is to address that data divide between marketing and sales by unifying the funnel and providing attribution all inside Salesforce where sales lives and opportunities reside. And we do this without disruption to your existing marketing systems. Seemingly, since the dawn of time, there's been discussion of sales and marketing alignment. Alignment really isn't just a nice to have, rather it's actually quite necessary if you plan to drive growth for your organization. Series Decisions, in fact, has this really great estimate here that having alignment can drive anywhere between 5 and 36% of your organization's growth, and that's some pretty significant growth. And while we often feel like there's a divide between sales and marketing, the reality is that our sales counterparts actually want alignment as well. 68% of sales professionals say it's absolutely critical or very important to have a single view of the customer, but only 17% of sales teams rate their single view as outstanding. So there is much improvement to be had in this area. And if we can make that improvement, then the benefits of alignment are huge. Enhanced visibility into bottlenecks, which also provides sales with a channel for feedback. We have improved efficiencies and productivity for both marketing and sales, and better alignment, which means that we're all in the same boat, rowing forward at the same time, enjoying greater revenue success. Okay, defining the KPIs that we'll want to talk about here with sales are funnel metrics. As previously defined, these are the metrics that are the stage-by-stage standards of measurement from a buyer from the beginning to the end. We're measuring, again, the buyer journey here. This gives us a visibility into campaign viability, both pre-opportunity as well as post-opportunity, along with business process, like what happens to the leads when they're handed off to sales. These are crucial for sales alignment, and if you don't have visibility into them, you'll not have strong alignment between the two teams. I do want to underscore why funnel metrics are important for the marketer. Technology has for sure changed our landscape. According to Forrester Research, 90% of the buyer journey may be completed before a salesperson becomes involved. As a result, in today's digitally driven marketplace, sales reps can be frozen out until very late in the customer's process. Now, more than ever, the onus is on us, the marketing shoulders, to develop extremely effective programs that attract and nurture leads in measurable fashion through the funnel all the way to the actual revenue event. Nevertheless, many marketers are still only looking at the top of the funnel or above the funnel and therefore seeing no more than a small part of the revenue generation process. So neglecting to expand beyond, I should say, tofu, or top of the funnel, is just as career limiting for marketers as you fail to realize both the responsibility and the opportunity to guide a prospect through their purchase decision. What's more, tracking those metrics associated with full funnel marketing end up being key performance indicators to your attribution data. With funnel metrics, you're able to see which campaigns are helping to progress leads through the funnel and which are not, allowing you to reallocate budget before a complete sales cycle is closed. This is critical for B2B marketers. Okay, so let's talk about that funnel. And when I say funnel, I mean the one that is shared between marketing and sales, and that is the classic Series Decisions waterfall. So what I have here is the classic one. I'm going to use this as an example just to keep things simple, as it's the foundation for all the other waterfalls that people use. And by now, Serious Decisions has a family of waterfalls. So if you're a Serious Decisions client or follow them, then you are familiar with all the iterations. And for those of you who are not familiar, we'll start here with the basics. At the very top of the funnel, and actually what's not labeled on the Serious Decisions Classic Waterfall, is the anonymous activity. But I would be remiss if I didn't mention it, so I'm doing that. This is all the clicks and interactions with digital media that can be tracked, and most marketers, of course, will want to track those. After the anonymous activity, we have the inquiry stage, which is a hand raise and signals a low level of interest. From there, we move to MQL, or Marketing Qualified Lead. This is the lead that meets predefined criteria, such as a score threshold, and is passed from marketing to sales. Next, we have SAL, or Sales Accepted Lead, where sales believe the leads meet their criteria and has the potential to close. This often marks the true handoff from marketing to sales. After that, we move to SQL, or Sales Qualified Lead. This means the lead has been qualified by sales, meaning there's a confirmed need and confirmed budget, and is often represented as the opportunity creation. So what exactly are those funnel metrics that we keep talking about? Well, those are conversion, volume, and velocity rates. Understanding volume provides insights into raw quantity of leads required to be generated by marketing. Calculating conversion rates from lead gen to close at every stage in between shows how effective those funnel stages are in moving leads to the next stage. And measuring velocity, usually in days, provides visibility into timing of the beginning to end sales cycle. And in B2B sales cycles, they're long, so people move in and out of the funnel, and tracking them can be complicated without an analytic solution that gives you full funnel, that is stage-by-stage visibility. This is critical that every step of the progression is captured each time an individual enters the funnel, so that all the dimensions of funnel measurements can be tracked accurately. You need to know what's working sooner rather than later to be most effective, especially when what's happening pre-opportunity. Let's dive a little deeper into each of these key performance indicators. Volume. The most obvious and basic metric is volume. As mentioned on the last slide, this is the sheer number or count of leads in the funnel. Volume is typically measured the quantity of leads in a particular stage of the funnel, but can also be a count of the number of pipeline opportunities or the count of leads associated with a particular campaign. You can see here we have different campaigns listed on the left side of the chart with the associated total volume of leads. We can also see that volume is broken down from stage to stage. Let's talk about conversion rates and how they are measured. Conversion is the rate at which leads progress from one stage to another. They're usually a percentage representing the ratio of leads that make it into the next stage of the funnel. The calculation is to divide the number of leads in the next or lower stage by the number of leads in the prior or higher stage. Essentially, it's division between volume quantities, a later funnel stage volume in the numerator divided by an earlier stage volume in the denominator. The application of this metric usually comes in the form of what proportion of the leads converted from a stage to the next. So you can see here in this example, the highlighted campaign is the inbound campaign, and you can see the stage-by-stage conversion rate. So inquiry to MQL at 43.23%, MQL to SAL at 37.83%, and so on and so forth. And you see that this particular campaign has an overall in fact, the highest conversion rate of all the campaigns in this particular example. You may want to optimize your marketing mix around this particular campaign depending on what your business strategy is. Okay, so velocity is the number of days that a lead or a segment of lead takes to move from one funnel stage to the next. It's pretty simple. This measurement is helpful for determining how many leads you'll realistically need to generate to contribute the deals closed in a given quarter. Because velocity gives you a baseline of the average length of the sales cycle. In other words, velocity is the average number of days for leads to move from one stage to the next and ultimately closed. So you can see here in this particular example, again, the campaign type called webinar, go figure that, has an average velocity of 17 days, making that, in this particular example, the most efficient campaign that's listed here. Again, you may want to optimize around your webinars if that's the case. So let's talk about leveraging these KPIs to help the two teams align around a common set of goals. We are going to look at a sample scenario, and we'll do this as a middle of the year scenario since we're effectively in the middle of the year right now. For this company, the first half revenue goal is $2 million. You can see that this company is in a bit of trouble because the marketing department is underperforming in this scenario, and it's underperforming by quite a bit. They only have contributed $880K in revenue in the first half, or 44% of their first half revenue goal. So if the annual goal is $3 million, they still have $2.12 million left to do in the year. We know that we underachieved our revenue goal as previously stated, so how did we get there? Which metric or metrics did we underperform on? We'll look at a formula which contains the KPIs we just discussed. Revenue equals volume times conversion times average deal size. This exercise should also be done in conjunction with your sales team and not siloed in the marketing department. We start by comparing the goals with actuals. You can see on this chart the first half goals are $2 million in revenue, a volume of 8,500 in qualified leads, an overall conversion rate of 0.6 was the goal. Our average deal size is 40K, and we would need 50 deals in order to make our revenue plan for the first half. But when you look at the actual performance numbers, you can see we fell short on pretty much everything. We only achieved 880K compared to the 2 million needed because our QL volume was low, our conversion rates from QL to 1 are low, and our average deal size was also low. A pretty sad state of affairs, I'd say. So now that we know where we underperformed, the question becomes, what's the gap we have to make up in second half? It's pretty straightforward math, thankfully, and using the reverse funnel method here is very helpful. The place to start is know how much revenue you need in the second half. If our annual goal is $3 million and we've already done 880K, we have $2.12 million left to do. From here, we have a couple of options. So in order to make that number, we can play around with the average deal size, conversion rate, and volume. In this example, you can see that we have a few different options. The marketing and sales team together must decide which option they feel is most obtainable based on budget and resources. Option number 1 is to use an average deal size of 39K, which was what we did in the first half actuals, which means that we now need to win 54 deals. We have to generate 15,854 qualified leads and have an overall conversion rate of 0.34%. All of those goals seem actually fairly aggressive given what we actually did in the first half. So maybe a second option is to work with the sales team and ask them if they think they can work for a higher average deal size. So let's take a look at what happens if we increase the average deal size to 45,000, that means we now need 47 deals for the rest of the year. It brings our QL volume down to 7,927, exactly what we did in the first half, but we also have to have a higher conversion rate at 0.6%. Again, sitting down with the sales team and working through these different scenarios is really helpful in determining what is the most viable option moving forward. With the reverse funnel for the second half of the year complete, both marketing and sales now have a set of goals to go after. These goals are measured with funnel metrics. So let's take a look at a couple of use cases for each of the KPIs we've defined and what we can learn from them. If you're using the volume KPI at the MQL stage, then the knowledge we'll gain is the marketing effectiveness in generating high quantity of responsive active leads. When we use the conversion rate KPI for the MQL to SQL stages, we can have meaningful conversations with the sales team to learn the quality of marketing leads and the potential channels and content that we are delivering strong leads and whether we're delivering strong leads or poor leads. Similarly, if we look at the velocity KPI for inquiry to MQL, we'll learn the effectiveness of our marketing programs at moving leads through the scoring process, which of course is helpful for maintaining an open line of communication with sales about marketing efforts and where you plan on making improvements. So why do we need funnel granularity? It's important to make alignment work, frankly, and you've got a set of KPIs, but you need granularity to create tangible working processes that will help you and your sales team know where improvements need to be made, and in some cases, be made quickly. A critical note about account funnel metric tracking is that you must be sure that every step of the progression is captured each time an individual enters the funnel, so that all the dimensions of funnel measurements can be tracked accurately. Attribution does not allow you to see what's happening pre-opportunity. Things can get stuck before or after the opportunity, and if you don't have visibility into those stages, you're not going to know what's going on. This is helpful to give you insights into whether a campaign is performing or not. Funnel metrics also help you with the business process side of things, and what I mean by that is, like, is your sales team performing? How are they actually handling the leads? So what happens in the middle of the funnel shouldn't stay in the middle of funnel with this level of granularity. This isn't Vegas after all. Transitioning into the middle is the all-important marketing to sales handoff, and flowing out of the middle phase is another critical handoff, the sales development rep to account exec handoff. This is the most important part of the funnel for strong alignment. From a marketing perspective, it's critical to know what's happening during these all-important handoffs. Does the baton get dropped, or is it passed on smoothly? Having insights into what's going on here is also helpful in ensuring that you're delivering the right content at the right time to help accelerate those leads. To put a fine point on what I've just said, having granularity in the middle of the funnel is important because it's the gateway to buying. It's an indication of buying interest, not just learning interest. It's the first one-on-one conversation, opportunity to address individual prospect challenges, and the second thing is to set product narrative against competitors. And this is where we see vulnerabilities in the handoff. It's the biggest potential for misalignment between marketing and sales, as well as the sales development reps and the account execs. So now that we know all about funnel metrics, let's talk about some actionable reports your sales team is going to want and that you should want to provide them in driving alignment. The number one thing that sales looks for from marketing are prospects to follow up on for generating opportunities, right? Sales often wants to get insight into each campaign, not only generating the most sales accepted leads, or the campaign that's not only generating the most sales accepted leads, but also have visibility into which campaigns have the highest conversion rates through the rest of the funnel. This is information the sales team is able to see exactly how every marketing program helps provide tangible leads for them to follow up with. In this chart, you can see the volume and conversion rates of every campaign type that was run this year. Emails had the highest conversion rates from marketing to sales, but banner ads actually drove the most sales accepted leads. These graphs show the most critical interactions between marketing and sales, the handoff from marketing qualified leads, or MQLs, to sales qualified leads. Funnel reports like these can visualize bottlenecks in the demand generation process and enable marketing and sales to have a conversation about why the conversion rates between these stages may be going up or going down. For example, in the chart here, you see that from April to May, MQLs go up, but SALs actually go down. However, if you look at August to October, marketing and sales seem to be on the same page, but MQLs and SALs are trending upward. Perhaps marketing increased their score threshold, so fewer but higher quality MQLs are converting to SAL. Or maybe sales just started following up more quickly, so fewer SALs were lost. Generating lots of prospects for the sales team to follow up with is great, but the VP of sales is usually interested in more than just the raw volume. The VP of sales wants marketing to pass quality leads over to his or her team. Tracking the number of opportunities that sales generates from names that marketing sourced is a good way to show the value that marketing provides in terms of helping sales hit their quotas. This report shows the number of sales qualified leads generated this year by each department, how many were converted to wins, and the percentage conversion rate from SQL to close. In this example, marketing generates the most SQLs and also the highest close rate. So let's take the last report one step further. Instead of looking at just the number of opportunities that sales created that were influenced by marketing, this report shows the specific campaigns that generate the most opportunities. If the VP of sales has access to this type of information, he or she can work with the marketing team to run more campaigns of this type to maximize the number of opportunities and potential revenue that marketing provides to sales. Influence, revenue, and pipeline are great summary reports to show the entire sales department. While marketing may not play a direct role in closing those deals, it plays a huge role in generating pipeline and closed revenue. Marketing campaigns drive a large percentage of closed deals in most large enterprises, and the VP of sales wants to be able to see just how much pipeline marketing is teeing up for his or her team to close. Plus, showing how much closed revenue marketing is sourced doesn't hurt either, if you know what I mean. So let's wrap this up and take a few questions afterwards. So our key takeaways, it's native Salesforce applications is critical for alignment. This drives marketing to sales alignment with a single source of truth. And of course, not all Salesforce apps are created equal. Define KPIs to reach your revenue targets. Use the reverse funnel to define the goals that can be used to identify inefficiencies in your customer journey. And then produce actionable reports that drive productivity. These key reports show marketing's contribution to revenue creation and drive a dialogue that helps to align with sales. So now that you know the areas of improvement for alignment between marketing and sales, don't let these things hurt you. Okay, I think we're about ready for questions. I will say if you'd like to learn more, please do visit FullCircleInsights.com. Andrew, I think it's back to you for questions.
Awesome, thanks for this good stuff. Good definitions. I think it's a good refresher even for me to see some of those stages there and some really good insights to look into examples. All right, we got some good questions coming in. I do want to remind everybody in the audience, if you haven't already, you want to type in a question. We're going to try to spend about 10 minutes here walking through those. Question from Morgan. We're focused more on middle funnel lead qualification. Have you seen examples from clients on what they've learned or changed at that stage of the funnel and having better funnel metrics?
Yeah, a lot of times when you look at the middle of the funnel, one of the things that people really tend to look at if things are getting, I guess there's two things. One is if there's a bottleneck going on and they double click into the bottleneck. Some of the things that our customers have uncovered are things like follow-up times, right? So if a salesperson isn't following up quickly enough with a prospect, we see things tend to get bunched up and drop off. The other thing that we've seen our customers do, knowing that sometimes things get a little sort of tied up in the middle, is they start looking at content that may be helping to move customers or prospects, I should say, from one stage to the next more effectively, more efficiently. So they'll look at campaigns with around content, around specific offers that have a higher velocity rate. And those two things are common scenarios, middle of the funnel scenarios that our customers uncover.
Okay, great. Question from Matt. He said his company is starting to shift and emphasize more on ABM. Would this similar approach work for ABM, he's asking, or would there be any different approaches or insights you would recommend there?
Yeah, no, 100% similar approach. The funnel that I showed obviously was the classic serious decisions funnel, but we also can measure the latest, the demand waterfall, which looks at the demand unit, which is coming from account-based marketing efforts. And absolutely, you would employ many of the same things and look at all the same metrics as what I showed here. They're absolutely applicable to ABM efforts.
Okay, great. Question from Michelle. She said one of the charts you showed around influence, she's been having, I guess, internal debates with her sales team about a major investment in a show. So she's just asking around any insights or examples you've seen around trying to substantiate or learn more about bigger investments.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's two things. We internally, and I guess I've seen our customers do this too, we both look at funnel metrics and attribution, right? So we look at both sides of the coin. So the funnel metrics, what we're looking at is we're looking at those basic metrics of not only volume, right, the number of leads or prospects that are coming in for a particular show, but how fast those leads are moving through the funnel and how well they're converting, and presuming they're faster or converting at higher rates. That's a good indicator that you may want to put money there, more money there, especially if you're looking at things pre-opportunity. From a post-opportunity perspective, that's where we really start to look at attribution data, right? And this is where you look at your events budget vis-a-vis, say, digital advertising, or some other campaigns, as a for instance, and you look at which part of your marketing mix is actually contributing more to revenue. So if you've got events that are contributing more for revenue, you're going to want to shift perhaps more money into that bucket and away from areas where they're perhaps less efficient or effective in driving revenue. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, that sounds right. Question from Nicole around working closer with sales. You talked a lot about alignment. She's asking if any of the insights you've seen customers have helped either with at the SDR level or in terms of the content or anything that the sales team has been using in follow-up or in their outreach.
Yeah, I think we've had a lot of customers that start off right in their own marketing silo with an analytic solution like ours, and they get a baseline of data, and that first drives a dialogue with sales, and then drives SLAs or service level agreements between the sales and marketing team. And sorry, I just got off on a tangent a little bit there, but we have seen customers use that information to both spur the sales team to perhaps do something different in how they're handling leads, as well as on the sales enablement front, we've seen customers use that information to be able to provide better content at a better stage of the funnel to help move things along. I know that was kind of a little bit of a vague answer, but I guess I was trying to address the generalities of it.
No, I think that makes sense. Even for yourself, though, Christine, you touched on content and channels there. Have you feel like you've gotten insights to share with your team of, how you're shifting emphasis or topics that are really resonating?
Yeah, I mean, it really all comes back to your own individual business or organization strategy, right? So every company is going to be a little bit different, but I certainly can tell you from my own use here at Full Circle Insights, and I know I'm biased because I'm head of marketing here, but really this has all been a game changer for me. And I came into the job thinking about attribution data is really the holy grail, and I will tell you this funnel metrics really have been they're my daily go-to to see what's working. And I can tell you specifically looking at channel, looking at offer, which I do daily from a funnel metrics perspective, what's moving, where it's moving to and from. It really helps me shift money around, and I have de-emphasized some particular offers or channels that were underperforming and shifted money into other areas. And I've done this pre-opportunity, right? I've done this before the sales, the sale actually even closed, which is really helpful. And I will also say that as a marketer, going back to the vendor or salesperson on the other side of the phone and actually having data in my hand to say that something underperformed and I won't be spending any more money in that direction anytime soon is It's a much easier conversation to have because you're having it around data. And similarly, if you have to have these conversations with your sales team, basing it on data, basing it on a single source of truth that you're all gathered around is meaningful and becomes a much healthier dialogue than he said, she said, or pointing fingers at somebody who failed, right?
Yep, no, that makes sense. Question from Jillian. She said you talked, the scenario you gave was, we're at mid-year, which we are on the calendar, but she said she's already starting on budgets, and she's asking if you've seen clients use this insights for, informing budgets or substantiating things for the C-suite.
Yeah, 100%, all the time. I've seen customers for sure, and even myself, will use it planning for the next year. So if you're starting to plan for 2019 now, which some organizations absolutely, especially really large organizations, are doing, right? They're starting their 2019 budget planning cycles. And absolutely, they will use a reverse funnel in order to start setting goals, right? Everybody knows what the revenue number is that everybody has to hit, and so you do your reverse funnel and figure out what you need to do from a marketing perspective to make that happen. Similarly, I will tell you, we've also had customers not only just use this, at the end of the year and at the half, but use it quarter over quarter, right? So you finish a quarter, right? You go through what your plan of record was and how you performed against that. And if you underachieved, which happens, even to the best of organizations, you're able to look at the remaining quarters, right, and make adjustments. And similarly, if you overperformed, I wouldn't say, I wouldn't advise making adjustments to the rest of your numbers. I would just, continue on the path knowing that you're doing a really great job. But anyway, it's definitely great insight to have more than twice a year.
Great. All right, we're going to take one more. Amanda was asking from a marketing technology standpoint. She liked the idea of having data, within Salesforce and consistent metrics with her sales team. And she was asking if that approach requires different integration or a different strategy with the marketing automation platform. Anything you can share there?
Well, having an analytics solution that's 100% native to Salesforce, and I'll use ours as the example since I know it best, but yeah, we absolutely work with the leading marketing automation platforms out there. The integration is relatively straightforward. And then around strategy, I guess it depends on what you mean exactly by strategy. Is it your tech stack strategy? Is it your business strategy?
I guess from both, if you can share any perspective there.
Yeah, I guess what I would say is, from a business strategy perspective, you're going to have a lot more insights available to you now. I think, the big, what happens often with the pain that most marketers face with the marketing automation platform in Salesforce without having a solution like ours in place is that the numbers don't match up. Their data disconnects, right? And Salesforce doesn't, keep historical data, et cetera, and we do solve for that. So from a strategy perspective, the great thing is that, once you implement our products, you have a lot of information immediately at your fingertips. You do have historical information, right, that you can go back and look at, which is actually really quite helpful. And that's a baseline, right? And that baseline is a great starting point for conversations in terms of, the business strategy, both with your sales team and with your executive management team, right? So, so it does change your strategy just in the sense that you come to the table much more prepared to have a discussion based around data and insights rather than, winging it, right? And again, you're taking, you're not getting into this battle between sales and marketing because your numbers don't align. You're able to have a single source of truth, rally around that, and solve for much bigger problems.
All right, great points. Christine, I appreciate you being so thoughtful with all your answers, really good insights. Thank you for that.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank Christine again. I also want to thank all of our audience for attending and making time today. I'll remind everyone that our next session is today at 2 p.m. Eastern, kind of a related topic. We're going to be looking at some trends and research around what B2B buyers, what kind of content they're consuming, as well as some real-world tactics that achieved 1,500% ROI. So make sure you tune in for that, and again, increase your chances to win from our prize box. And all right, thanks again to everybody, and have a great day.